Okay, it's Tuesday, July 16th, 2019. We're trading the New York session. It's just about maybe 10 minutes till 11 o'clock California time. And for those of you that aren't too familiar with the time zones, I'm 3 hours behind New York. So that'll give you some perspective as to what time it is New York time. So anyway, what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about in this video some updates to the Trade Copier for Trade Copier subscribers. This is not for coaching members. This is, again, Trade Copier subscribers. So I had a total of 4 trades today. There was a short here. I'm sorry, I went long on this bounce right here on the pound dollar. It looked like it was just one of those obvious opportunities where it was just going to move up a little bit higher, and then it rolled right back over on me. It was similar to an HL30, but when I trade an HL30 inside of the same range of consolidation, I have to be really particular about it, and as particular as I was on this one, it still didn't work. So I cut that off, minus 20, I think it's 21 pips on this one. It dropped down just a little bit lower, but you know, with the spread, it was about normally the stop is a 20 pip stop and a 20 pip target, but this one was a 21 pip loss as it rolled back over. And then there was the dollar Swiss. The dollar Swiss looked like a short opportunity here, and it didn't go that far. It looked like, along with the dollar, because I was watching the dollar index, that it was going to drop down a little bit lower. Sometimes these will work independently, where maybe the 3 out of the 4 majors will sort of be moving sideways, and then you get one good solid trade, or at least I do with the trading system that I use, the HL30 and the breakouts. And then the dollar Swiss will sometimes provide me with some really good opportunities. But this one stalled. It didn't hit that target, and then it flipped around, and I cut this one off. Again, no reason to let it continue to run up higher. And at that point, I could see that, and I'm going to show you another chart here with one of the other trades. I could see that the market was starting to shift. So I was watching Japanese yen futures. I was watching the dollar yen. Dollar yen is, in many cases, in many situations, hypersensitive to U.S. economic data. So I could see that the dollar, along with Japanese yen futures, things were starting to shift. So then I went ahead and was able to earn back the loss quickly by selling the euro dollar to a specific target for approximately 30 pips here. And then let me show you the other trades and the Japanese yen future. I apologize. It was not 30 pips on the dollar, euro dollar. It was 30 pips on the pound dollar, if I incorrectly mentioned that. And then it was another 10 pips here on the euro dollar. And then I went long the dollar yen. So the dollar yen, let me go ahead and open this up and I'll show you what I was looking at here. The range, for the most part, from the high and the low for most of this week, since the opening, it's a pretty tight trading range. And very often when I see candles that close outside of these ranges, when the range is relatively tight, and I'll go ahead and show you what I mean by tight, we've got a high here at 108.10 and then a low at 80 approximately. So that's not, I mean, that's only 30 pips. And normally the continuation breakout trade provides me the best trading results when a candle closes outside of a consolidation range and then it continues to trend in the direction of the breakout. That usually occurs when the consolidation range is appropriate, meaning that it's at least 55 pips or greater. When it's 30 pips, very often it'll create like a head fake move. It'll move up like this and then sometimes drop right back down inside a consolidation. So I've got to be really careful with it. So this one I earned, I think, approximately 4 or 5 pips. It didn't go as far as I was thinking it was going to ahead of the statement. This, I guess it was 10 o'clock my time, California time. So it's Powell's statement. He's speaking, and very often, and for those of you that aren't really keeping up with a lot of the individuals that can make statements or comments and they can move the market pretty significantly. I mean, these guys can drop specific lines in their statements or specific words that can really turn the markets quickly. Price can react pretty violently. So I was thinking that we were going to get some kind of a reaction before. Maybe the market's anticipating that. That's what it looked like with this breakout. But again, I also had, over here on the far left, this is my Japanese yen futures chart. Again, for those of you who are familiar with it, this is Japanese yen futures. This is not a cross pair. This is just Japanese yen futures. full contracts traded here. I'm looking at volume levels. There was a continuation breakout trade the way I traded. And again, but it stalled right there. And then at the same time, I had the breakout here on the dollar yen. So with the dollar yen, I knew I was running into the possibility of some resistance in here. It might go a little bit further. I'm really not sure, but I'm going to continue to watch it after the rollover. I'm not too sure I'm going to sell it up here just yet. I'm going to have to look for signs of weakness up there. But again, this is what I was timing along with the market before Powell's statement, and I was able to close those positions before the statement because, again, we don't know when those individuals release those statements how fast the market can move just because of maybe 1-2 words or maybe a specific sentence that wasn't in the previous statements that they've dropped to the press. So we've got to be really careful with that. And so all of the losses, the 2 losses, were immediately earned back right away, and now I'm going to be resetting and looking for opportunities after the rollover.